Ni hao, bitches. That's right. Play PSVR, the podcast, episode 59, coming at you hot. And if you're wondering what ni hao means, my friends from China who listen to our show, all three of them from China who are listening to the podcast, inform me that it means hello. Adam, so ni hao to you, Adam. Ni hao.
So surprisingly, there's no Adam here. There's only idiot. Because idiot. You know what? Welcome to Play PSVR, the podcast. You got your host, Alex, and then your other host, Idiot. Because the last time I saw someone my stupidity, I had to pay admission. It was stupid. You know what? Alex, one time, a thought struck me. I was in the hospital for a friggin' month. That's how stupid I am. You want to know why I'm stupid?
Why are you this stupid, Adam? I feel like this is going to backfire on me. Why are you this stupid?
No, it's not. It's going to backfire on me because we had Mike Bob on, and the only thing I cared about was why he liked my roast box. I forgot. I didn't ask him a single effing thing about the roast box. I didn't ask him what he did with it. I didn't ask him what his favorite part was. I didn't. F me. I'm an idiot. Mike Bob, if you're hearing this, let me know so I can talk about it in the podcast next week. Like, how the most important thing to have asked the person, one of two people in the entire world to get a PSVR roast box from Play PSVR, and I didn't even ask him about it. I'm an idiot. I'm so stupid.
I don't even know if Chota Boy got his roast box. I threw away the tracking number because I was so ashamed of how badly I got roasted on the stream by those guys. So Chota Boy, reach out to us. Let us know if you got the roast box because I need to know where this thing's at. I need to know what's happening. And we also want to hear from you how you feel about it. You know, is it the gift that we thought it would be?
For all we know, because so many people listen to the podcast, all of the postal workers, they knew what it was. And they took it. They may not even gotten it.
They probably saw the Play PSVR on the From thing. They're like, oh, this is the roast box. Yeah, I'm going to hold it, wait a couple of years, and sell it on eBay.
Oh, it's going to be worth so much. PS5, good luck.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be selling for thousands.
I hear the PlayStation 6 is going to be called a roast box in honor of our roast box.
Oh, I can't wait. Speaking of roast boxes, actually, this is a horrible transition, but I'm going for it. Let's talk about gamer juices. So this, I don't know what the F I was doing. I felt like switching it up. So I got a Vita Coco sparkling coconut water. I got the pineapple passion fruit edition. And it's because I actually hate coconut with a passion. Coconut water tastes like ball sweat. Like, imagine taking your favorite mascot from your favorite sports team, him doing his antics during a playoff game, and then you pouring out all of the liquid left in the suit. That is what coconut water tastes like. So I got the pineapple to hopefully mask the coconut. So I will say, wow, it's definitely very carbonated. The pineapple is a nice touch. I can't taste the coconut whatsoever. Surprisingly sweet. It's pretty good. It's very refreshing because it has those electrolytes that's so close to water. It essentially is enhanced water. I'm impressed with it. I don't know about you guys over in Europe. I know our US folks have Vita Coco, and they know what that is. It's good stuff. I recommend it.
I just wanted to make a note that Adam knew coconut water tasted like ball sweat, and he decided to still buy a ball sweat flavored drink. So let's just hang that out there while I talk about my gamer juice this week. It is called Lemmy, a superior lemonade. I don't know if this is a lemonade made for white nationalists or something like that. I don't know why you got to call it superior. That's not what I was going for. I found out after the fact that it was a superior lemonade. Now, I've already purchased it, so the damage has been done, so I have to drink what I purchased. It says on the back that it is a lemonade that's all grown up. It's not alcoholic. I don't know what that means. It's 15 calories. So if you start seeing me looking a little bit slimmer when you see me on the streets, that's probably why. So Lemmy, a superior lemonade that's all grown up.
It doesn't even make any sense if it's not alcoholic.
I just get things from the come and go, something that I haven't seen before, and I just buy it and I drown myself in it and hope that it produces a good podcast.
You came and then you went.
Exactly. I came and went. All right, Adam, enough dilly-dallying. We need to get to some games.
Well, how is it? You drink it, you don't even say what you poser.
It tastes like lemonade. It tastes like lemonade that's been sweetened with artificial sweetener. So take that for what it is. No, it's not superior, man. Everything that claims to be superior is not superior. That's the way the word superior works.
It's just like if you say you're good looking, you're actually ugly as sin.
That's why I think you're so good looking, Adam.
What? Okay, let's get back to the Powerade play of the week. So we're going to try to – we don't like the fact that when we do reviews, it's just one person talking for like 5 to 10 straight minutes. That sucks. So what we're doing, we're switching it up. I'm going to hit you with some quick hits about Table of Tales because that is our Power Play of the week. And then Alex is going to ask me some questions about the game, and that is how we are going to do reviews from here on forward. If you have suggestions on how you want to hear the games that we're playing this week, let us know. So first, Table of Tales. It's kind of like a D&D role-playing game, turn-based, very like geometric style. It's very much like, a D&D game. So that's, honestly, I've only played one in my life, but I liked it. We'll get into that later. You can use the Move controllers or the DualShock. Believe it or not, Move controllers are better. I know, surprising. Tin Man Games is the developers. Very well done. I'm very impressed with the work that they did. I'm looking for more games from you, Tin Man. It's $19.99. You get about 4 hours of content for that for a single playthrough, but the replayability is out the roof. So you're definitely going to play more in 4 hours. And right now, if you jump to it, if you have a PS Plus membership, it's, I think, $15.99. And overall, if I had to rate this bad boy in a number form, I would give it a solid 8. And depending on who you are, if you like these type of games, this could jump up even to a 9.
All right. Now that we got that garbage out of the way, I just want to give a shout out real quick. Adam made a video. It was nice. Made a video about this, kind of like a video review, video impressionist thing called Why You Won't Play Table of Tales. Is that right, Adam?
That's right. I like trying to do something different because everyone just does a review. And so it was good. Some people didn't like it. It was great. So because I got some thumbs down, I'm going to keep doing it. So next game I get to play, it's just more fun. I like having fun while I'm doing it. When I do an actual video review, for some reason I don't have fun. But when I get to talk, I think it's a playful way of telling people what the issues with the game is, rather than just Tables of Tales, this sucks or that sucks or graphics aren't that good. It's kind of like, it spices it up. Maybe it's a stupid idea. I don't know.
I like it, Adam, but I get enough of your voice when you record the podcast, so I didn't watch your video. I probably won't watch it. So instead, I'm going to have you tell me about the game right now. So right off the bat, tell me what this game is about, story-wise. What's going on in this game?
Okay, so there are 4 scoundrels that you see on a ship right off the bat, and part of the gameplay is that you have to pick 3 of them. One of them has to get thrown overboard. And each of them, they call them scoundrels, but essentially they're in some way in the past they've committed a crime. And they have decided to turn a new leaf and they do something good, but then they're set up for murder years later. And then now they're trying to figure out who framed them. And there's a nice little plot going on with the game. I don't want to expose too much. A nice twist ending. It's pretty involved. And depending on who you choose to throw overboard, the story changes slightly. So that's awesome. And so ultimately you are moving these little scoundrels, your characters, through different worlds to essentially avenge whoever tried to set them up, and then kind of figure out what up. It's good. It's a really good. I'm just scared to give too much of the plot because it's a very plot heavy game. I said, D&D games are always kind of plot heavy, so that's as far as I'm going to get. Essentially, it's a mystery. You're 4 people trying to figure out who set you up and trying to clear your name, kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot more intriguing than I expect. Table of Tales made me think it's just going to be a standard fantasy story. So now I'm more intrigued to play the game. That's good. So right off the bat, just what's the main gameplay loop? Am I playing chess here? Am I playing like Zelda here? What's going on? How can you explain how the gameplay works for me?
Yeah, so at first when I played, I was like, what the F is a tabletop RPG? So essentially, you go into different worlds and lands, and it's broken up into a grid. So made up a bunch of little squares. Each character that you choose in the beginning, they have a certain number of, I forgot what they call it, like move points. So this one character can move 3 spaces. This other character can move 4 spaces. This other character can only move 2 spaces. So you move the characters. Each of them have a set of cards that do a certain amount of damage or have some type of side effect to them that you get to choose. Some of them obviously are healing. Some are just damage. Some give like weaken or stun or paralyze, something like that. And so it's kind of turn-based combat like that. And essentially, in the beginning, you come up with your game plan. You move in those very kind of geometrical type shapes and in those worlds. You got to decide how you're going to have them work together. And there's definitely a lot of strategy. And even on the lowest level, it's 2 or 3 of the levels are actually quite difficult. And now in normal mode, obviously, it's even harder. But it definitely is going to be a challenge to you. It's a lot of fun. It makes a pretty good amount of sense. The first round, you're going to be really confused. Another thing they do that, I don't know. I think it definitely follows their suit, but I'm not a huge fan of it. There are certain points in the game where you have to convince people to come on your side, or you have to be able to break through a coral gate. And so once you get to the gate, you have to roll die to reach a certain number. And if you don't do it, then that action doesn't happen. But it's not like in D&D where, okay, you didn't break through the coral gate, so now this happens. Instead, you just waste your turn, essentially, and then the next turn, you have to roll again. But while that's happening, you waste your points to move, and then enemies are still attacking you. So there's definitely some luck associated with it. And depending on how your strategy is and, how your luck turns out, you may need nicer rolls than you would, plan to, which is unfortunate because you could have a great strategy in the harder levels, but then, if you don't get the rolls, you're screwed. You're sitting there and they're going to come and get you and there's nothing you can do. The die can be stingy, my friend. The die can be stingy.
All right. So the other question here with VR, we always got to worry. What's the controls like? Is this first person? Is this third person? Are you picking the pieces up with your hands? Are you moving them around with the square button or anything like that? What's going on?
So you, like I said, can use DualShock or the moves. Believe it or not, the moves are much better than the DualShock. I don't know. That's the first game I've ever seen that, so I don't understand it. So I very much recommend the Move controller. So you only need one, really. You can have 2 of them. But they give you a little wand, and the little wand has a ball at the end, very much like a Move controller. It kind of looks like a medieval Move controller. And when you push the Move button, the little ball on top has it kind of moves on a little, I don't know, what's that stupid thing?
I have no idea what you're trying to say here.
I know, this is horrible. Okay, the ball moves. There's a little mechanism that pushes the ball forward.
All right.
And so you can reach out into the playing field and move the pieces because you are essentially setting at a table. And the table's converted into all these different worlds. It's a cool idea and how they took just a normal playing table and turned it into this. Obviously, it's fantasy, but they put water on it. And so essentially you're sitting at a table and you're making your moves very much, again, like you're playing a board game. And so instead of having to reach halfway across the table, you have this little kind of grabber that can grab your pieces for you, and you could move them without really having to lean forward or move your hands too much. And the tracking works great. No issues with the tracking. And so it's a pretty simple game for tracking, but they do it well. So no issues there.
Okay, so it sounds like a standard strategy RPG with a little bit of a VR twist. How are the characters in the game? Because when I play a game like this, I really like to get involved and emotionally attached to a character. You know me, I'm the pansy guy with all the emotions. How are the characters? Are they like blank slate characters, or do they have some kind of character development about them in the story?
You definitely wouldn't be playing this for character development. It's rather straightforward. Like, for example, regardless of the gameplay, there's one person who you find out later that, okay, he ended up being a coward and his village was under attack and he was the first one to run. And now that he's had to come back to that place, they recognize him. They were angry at them and they pushed him like, you aren't leaving this time. So he had to kind of face his fears. But the character is the same every playthrough. And I wouldn't really say they develop at all either. I mean, it goes well into the plot and it meshes well, but you don't see a character evolve or change, or really the plot, I guess, is somewhat basic, but has a nice twist to it. And it was better than I was expecting, put it that way.
Okay, so it's kind of more plot driven, less character driven. That makes sense. So it sounds like an RPG kind of. It sounds like a strategy RPG, basic stuff I'm really used to in 2D. Thinking about it as a VR game, do you think sitting at a table and playing this game, pretending it's VR, do you think that enhances the experience, or do you think you enjoyed this game more because they simulated the experience of sitting at a table and playing an RPG like Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, I actually think it does. And the reason is because you actually are playing. If you're playing a 2D game, it's obvious, okay, you're playing a video game. Like you're watching a TV and moving pieces that way. But here, you're actually moving your arm and moving the pieces, and the characters are little figurines. And so it really is like you are playing a D&D game with a friend, although there's, no friend there. And the one thing that would just totally be the tits is if someone took this idea and created a online multiplayer mode in which you really did just play a D&D game with people. It's essentially, if you took Werewolves Within and you took this and put it together, you would make only God knows how much money. That's a good idea. We should do that, Alex, because it would sell. Because this really transformed it into the fact that you are there. I forgot that I wasn't in my room. Like, I was that immersive and that good of a story and that engaging and that strategic. And that's one of the reasons why I rated it so high, and why, honestly, I was blown away by the game. I did not think it was going to be anywhere near as good.
So it sounds, yeah, I'm a fan of these kind of games. I love the tabletop stuff in VR, even though it could be a flat game. It just, something about VR makes it feel special for me. And, $20, as a fan, I'd probably definitely buy it. Adam, would you recommend somebody like you buy this game at 20, or should they wait? What's your opinion?
Honestly, I'm a curmudgeon most of the time with these games, but this one I really enjoy. I would say this is definitely a buy. If you want to, so on that video you referenced earlier, pretty much I named every single negative thing I could say about it. And they were very picky complaints. The only two I have would be the graphics aren't great. There's animations with the characters, but it's kind of like fuzzy. It's not super detailed. But again, I mean, that's being picky. And two, you see your health and your shield and other stats on essentially the bottom piece that your character sits on, but it's not in a numerical value. So, for example, you have a green bar for health, and as you take damage, some of that green bar goes away and is replaced by red. Well, at the very end, or end of the life bar, you're like, I don't know how much health I have. Is it going to take one more hit, two more hit? Like, I would like to have a numerical value, because I've had enemies where I was like, okay, it's like at the very sliver end of the life bar, he'll only take one more hit. But then I guess his life bar was so big that obviously it's all relative when you're looking at it visually, and then it takes two hits, and then my strategy kind of took a hit there. But those are literally the only two things I would change. Good game. Go buy this game. I guess you'll talk about Ghost Giant next. This is one of the better games. This very well might be my favorite game that's come out this year.
That's high praise. Chroma Gun came out this year, but I'll just
nuts. I knew I was forgetting one. Okay. Not quite, but it's very close. Very close. Okay, right. Alex, tell us about Ghost Giant, because
Adam's most anticipated game of the year. Am I right?
That's exactly why you're reviewing it.
Yeah. So Ghost Giant is developed and published by Zoink, Zoink Games, something like that. It's a straight up adventure game. You control it with the moves. I don't think you control it with the DualShocks. I don't know how that would work. It might be possible, but I never tried it. I wouldn't imagine it would work. The length, it's about 3 to 4 hours long, maybe a little bit longer if you linger in some of the levels. And for price, it's $25.99. So that's the quick hits. Adam, how about you come at me with what you want to know about this game?
First, I think it's $24.99.
What did I say, $25.99?
Sure did.
If you spend $25.99 in this game, contact me. I'll send you $1.
Ooh, that's good. I'm going to buy it for $25.99. Okay, so obviously we all know, well, as someone who didn't play it, I'm guessing that this is a very, very plot-heavy game. So in general, what is it about? I know there's like a little rabbit or something.
I guess he's a rabbit. He looks like a rabbit. His name is Luis, and you find him sitting on like the shore of a lake, and he's crying, and then you just kind of materialize out of like his tears in a lake, and you're this giant blue ghost, and you just kind of reach out and poke him, and very quickly you befriend this little guy, and you see that he's got a lot of troubles in his life, but he's got a relatively chipper attitude. And so you just kind of feel compelled to help this little guy out because he doesn't seem like a bad dude, but he just kind of has a rough lot in life. And so basically, you're just getting this guy through his day, trying to help him out with whatever problems come along in his life. I'll admit, I'm not 100% done with the game, so I don't know where the plot's going to go completely. I'm over halfway, though, and, that's what's taking place right now. That's what's going on, is you're helping this guy out with his life. I can see where the plot's heading. I don't want to mention it because I don't want to cause any spoilers. So I just – there's going to be some emotional stuff happening near the end of the game. I don't want to give anything away, and I don't want to spoil anything for you because this game, like you said, it's very plot-driven. It's very story-driven. As an adventure game, this is like a modern point-and-click adventure. As such, the story is a very important element in the game.
So, okay, you mentioned that he has issues. Like, are we talking drug addictions? Are we talking like his dad died? Like, give me an example of an issue that you're saying he has.
So the kid right off the bat seems really lonely, and that's kind of disappointing. I say kid, he's a fox. He's a child fox. He's, trying to manage this farm, and he keeps referencing his mother that, you don't really get to see. You're wondering where she's at. He obviously needs help with this farm. He's just a kid trying to run the show. Things are falling apart around him. Struggles keep happening to him, and you're just trying to help him out. He's obviously a kid trying to survive in a grown-up world.
Dude, okay, I've got to admit, right off the bat, this sounds like a horrible game for me. I mean, this is lining up to be everything I hate. Okay, the controls. You mentioned uses move controllers. You know how I like the move controllers. Mm-hmm. So tracking good, or what type of movements are you doing here?
So in this game, basically you play the game in scenes. Instead of chapters, you play scenes. There's 14 scenes. And in a scene, you're effectively sitting in one location, and you can turn 90 degrees to the left or you can turn 90 degrees to the right. So there's basically 3 views that you can take. And within those views, you reach out, you have the move controllers, and you stay in that one spot, and you reach out and you're grabbing things, and you can hit the move button to point out your index finger and poke things in the environment, or you can squeeze the trigger and pick things up in the environment that they allow you to pick up and throw. So part of the charm of this game is that it's like a paper mache style game. Everything looks paper mache. Really, really pretty. Part of the charm of this game is that there's so much stuff to interact with, so many things to pick up, little knickknacks to pick up and find. And I think in every single scene, there's a basketball. And in every single scene that I've played so far, there's a hoop. And so there's little secrets for you to find like that. The basketball and stuff isn't important to the story, but it's fun while the story's going on or while you're trying to solve whatever puzzle is in front of you. You look around, you pick off the roofs of houses and look inside the house and see what's going on. It's like a diorama effect. Everything's really stylized. It's like a paper mache, fantastic Mr. Fox type of world. And so, yeah, the controls, you're basically poking things and picking things up and looking around and, maybe putting a couple pieces together to try to like build something or turn. There's a lot of crank turning going on. And there's, oddly enough, a lot of throwing in this game. Sometimes there's little targets in the background. You have to throw something and hit it to solve a puzzle, which I have to admit is kind of frustrating. I don't know why they thought precision throwing had any place in this kind of game, because the gameplay screeches to a halt when it's time for me to throw something, because it's going to take about 20 attempts, no lie, to try to hit that target, because you can't accurately throw in PSVR with a move controller. I just really wish somebody would just let me point to where I want to throw and then throw with the other hand. That would be great. But aside from that, the controls, nothing really to fuss about. You're in one spot, no locomotion to speak of, and you're just kind of picking things up and looking around this cute little environment.
So no combat.
No combat. No. Oh. It's not a fighting game, Adam.
Oh. No.
So yeah, I mean, it goes with saying people are going to compare this to Moss, but it's like Moss without the combat. So just, kind of some puzzle solving adventure type stuff.
Oh my, this is just bad. Oh my. What would I just, oh my gosh. What do I hate worse, Moss or Ghost Giant?
You, Adam, who's afraid to show emotion and afraid to connect with something on an emotional level, you who cannot connect with a character to save his life, you are going to hate Ghost Giant because there's not a single bit of action drama in this game. This game is literally about overcoming emotional states and making the world better for somebody else, not about, stabbing a snake in the face or anything like that.
So it's like, I'm just trying to think. So is it Louis?
Yeah, Louis. Somebody calls him Lewis, and I think it's kind of a joke, but Louis. Yeah, Louis.
Okay, so Louis goes into this thing. I'm just trying to figure out, what.
Okay, first puzzle of the game, just so it's not a spoiler. First puzzle of the game, you poke him, he goes and hides, you pick up the rocks so that he can't hide anymore, and he runs in his treehouse. Now, running into his treehouse so abruptly causes it to lose its balance, and it starts to fall over, so you have to catch him. And you catch the treehouse as it's falling over, and you put it right back up in its place, and as he's running out, he falls down and he lands in the water. And so you got to pick up a life preserver and put it on him so he can swim over to the shore and get back out of the water. Just little things like that, little interactions. Then he goes onto his farm, and you got to pick the daisies.
Oh, my. Can I make him drown? Can I watch him drown?
This is not that kind of game, Adam.
Seriously, but if you don't put a life preserver, will he drown?
He'll just sit there asking for help. He's not going to drown. There's no life bars or anything. This game is entirely story-driven. Have you ever played like Myst or Broken Sword? Any of these games, it's point-and-click adventure. Have you played?
What happens if, say, you mentioned the treehouse falling? What happens if I don't grab it?
It balances on the edge and it is precarious.
This is world.
Because this kind of game, if there were fail states like that, it would be incredibly frustrating because the whole point of the game is trial and error and trying to find out what the solution is. If there was a way to lose and have to restart and just do the same thing over and over again, it would be incredibly frustrating. So
create a different game. Okay, last question. Is there a platinum? And how difficult is it going to be to get, if you had to guess?
I don't think there's a platinum. If there is a platinum, it's not going to be very difficult to get because the game tells you when you finish a level, there's a little arrow that points to the next scene, and you poke that level to go to the next scene. Now, above that arrow is a little indicator telling you all the things in the level that you still have yet to find, like a little caterpillar that you got to find and poke, or all the hats. You can find these little hats and put them on Louis. So in order to get all of these things, like the annoying part about platinums is you never know how close you are to getting the platinum sometimes.
No, there's a platinum.
Yeah, okay, there you go. It's going to be a very easy platinum. You just got to suffer through the game if you're Adam, or you just have to really enjoy the game. For me, it's going to be a very enjoyable platinum to get because I'm doing all this stuff anyways. I'm trying to find all the hats. I'm trying to pick up everything I can in the environment, look in everybody's house, make all the little characters talk and stuff. This game is voice acted all the way through. The voice acting is fantastic. It's great. It's natural. It's funny. Funny in a charming way, not like, I'm going to laugh until I die like Dumb and Dumber, but, charming like Fantastic Mr. Fox, that kind of thing, like a kid's movie charm.
Well, great. Now I'm going to have to play it because you're going to end up platinuming it, and I can't take a loss.
It is an interactive Pixar movie. That's what this is. If you like Pixar, you'd probably like something like this.
Okay, I'm sick of talking about this. F me. Freaking Ghost Giant. Okay. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I talk about Ghost Giant. I'd rather play it than this game, QuiVR. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so QuiVR is a bow and arrow first-person shooter, essentially. You think it is co-op multiplayer, not versus. So essentially what happens is that you go and you begin at this gate. And there are enemies, hordes of enemies coming at you, and use bow and arrow to shoot them. You have a few special attacks. Every now and then you get special arrows that either explode or they cause other ailments to the enemies. You have like a glowing orb, kind of like a fireball that you can throw at them. But primarily, obviously, you're going to use your bow and arrow. And so the gameplay is the same every time, just sometimes you could be by yourself, or other times if you want, you could play with other people. And so you start at this gate, and essentially you get pushed forward, and you can move to different locations by shooting different portals that will take you there. And honestly, that's about it. I mean, closer to the end of the levels, you play randomized bosses, and that's breaks it up a little bit. But that is literally the gameplay. There's nothing else. So
Okay. So let me ask some questions, Adam. You're just burning through this without even letting me talk.
I want to get this over as fast as
We'll
possible.
be quick. We'll be quick. So it sounds it looks really similar to me to a lot of games that we have already. I'm talking about games like Ancient Amuletor, talking about games like In Death, Apex Construct. This whole game is about bow and arrow. As a bow and arrow game, how do you rate it? Out of those 4 that we have now, Apex Construct, Ancient Amuletor, In Death, and Quiver, how does it rate? Is it better than any of those?
No, it is not.
All right.
So, yeah, no, straight up not.
Then is it a wave shooter? Is that what's happening here?
Pretty much. It is the worst of both worlds. It is a wave shooter with a bow and arrow that tracking isn't great. Or maybe maybe it's not the tracking. It's just you have to be very precise. I guess I'll put it that way. Because, tracking has a little issue, but I wouldn't say that's its downfall. So
from what I saw of this game, it's really important to do multiplayer. Why is there something you could see in the game that would make multiplayer more fun here? Like you have character progression, and one person has like fire arrows, and one person has like poison arrow. Any kind of combination stuff there?
So the only thing that I applaud them on doing that I think is kind of cool is that as you play more, you unlock different masks and arrows and custom. Are you like eating Tic Tacs? Oh, he's sucking down another superior lemonade. What a bum. Okay, so you can customize your character, which I think is cool. I like that aspect of it. But other than that, there is no plot whatsoever. The graphics are god-awful. Horrible. I don't even know what I'm shooting at. They're essentially blue blobs, and I'm playing on the Pro. It's so boring. And multiplayer only enhances that you have someone else to suffer with. Really, it's not good. It's not good, man.
Okay, well, here's my last question about this game. This game seemed kind of hyped when it was announced that it was coming out. People were excited about it, I guess because they played it on PC and they heard good things about it. Adam, I want you to tell me what the best thing about this game is. If you imagine you had to sell me this game, how would you sell it to me?
Oh, Alex.
You try to have sex with me or something? Is that what that sound is?
Yeah, it's better than anything you're getting out of this game. It has to be multiplayer that you could play with your friends. But I'm telling you, it's so boring, man. It's just the same thing. And if you play with someone in multiplayer who doesn't talk to you, well, that's painful. A couple times I tried to get on. I wanted to play a little bit, right? I was like, there's no way. I'm wrong. There's something I'm missing. So I tried to get on tonight. Friday night, no one online. It's the first week it's come out and multiplayer's dead already. It's that bad. So good luck finding someone. But if you play with your friends, maybe it's tolerable. But, it's $25.99. That's the real kick in the balls. That is expensive, and it is definitely I would say it's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
I would say for $25.99, there's got to be something redeeming about it, but that's what Ranch Planet launched at. So maybe if this game drops down to $5 and I'm hankering for some bow and arrow action, I might look at it.
Dude, there's that's the thing, man. This isn't a new concept, and they did the worst one. Like, I remember thinking in Apex Constructs, okay, I had to be really precise with the bow and arrow. Like, I was like, come on. But it worked well. So a quiver, I guess, is the thing that holds your arrows or something. I don't know. So originally it's on your back. So you have to move the move controllers behind you, push the trigger at the right time, and have your hand land near the bow and arrow and then pull back. It's just, it's not easy to shoot. It's very precise. The tracking isn't excellent. There's tons of enemies. It's not fun. Game's bad.
You officially neutered my enthusiasm for this game. So thank you for doing that, Adam. Another game I was looking for that you have made me not want to play. So I'll just go back to Ghost Giant and cry with my friend Louie.
There you go. The thing is, the developers, they made Drunken Bar Fight. I love Drunken Bar Fight. So if you're going to I have faith in them, but I don't know what happened with this game. I know it was a PC VR game, and I think it was a rather early PC VR game. So maybe the standards were a little lower and it was just meant for an earlier time. But now that things have developed and gotten better, it just didn't translate well. If you get a game from the monkey, get Drunken Bar Fight. That's the only thing I can say.
Wait, just real quick, what kind of enemies are you shooting here?
I think there's some type of like blue orcs.
Okay, well, that might be kind of okay. That's what makes the game for me is what kind of enemies you're fighting. That might be okay, but it could be bad.
Play Mage's Tail.
Okay, no.
Play Wizard.
No. We're done.
This is better than both of them. I promise you. Or wait, no. This is worse. I'm sorry. This is worse than both of them. Okay, so before I get. Dang it. I should have started with that one, so now I'm not depressed. Play Table of Tales. Maybe play Ghost Giant. Don't play Quiver. For Play PSVR segment 1, we are finished, but we are coming back in the second segment, and we are going to be talking about PS5. We're going to be talking about a Golden Stream recap because Alex had a total meltdown, and we have an airing of grievance that I just realized it's going to be a record. It rocked me. I am shook. So stick with us. We'll talk to you real soon. This is segment 2 of Play PSVR, the podcast. So right off the bat, in a few weeks, we haven't done a fan shout out, Alex. And you know what? I feel bad. We're dirty. We're dirty men. And we're sorry. We suck. Please forgive us. So this week, I want to give a little shout out to Grim Gnarly. So he contacted us on Twitter, gave us a heads up that apparently iTunes is effed up. He wasn't getting the episodes on his podcast provider. And that sucks. And I mean, we knew recently we switched podcast hosts, but that's still effing bullcrap because I thought iTunes was all good with us. So you know what, man? I called Apple myself because of you, and I gave them a piece of my mind. But then they just told them just to send an email. So really, I did, but I don't know what that's going to do. But regardless, we thank you, Gnarly. You rock, bro. Thanks for noticing you weren't getting episodes, and thanks for contacting us. And we'll have more shout-outs in episodes to come.
Can you send Mr. Gnarly, can you send him a Monkey King code?
I value that man's time more than the punishment.
How about if you want it? If he wants it, he should contact us, and we'll give him a Monkey King code. How does that sound?
If you want a Monkey King, Gnarly... That's so stupid. Okay, so the biggest news all week, I mean, there have been rumors flying and there's been excitement. We had a official PlayStation 5 specs and additional information that we didn't know. There was some interviews, and we now have some details about the PS5, of which, Alex, both of you and I are excited for. We know PSVR 2 is coming out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you some specs, and then you kind of tell me, like, is it a big deal? What's up with it? Because I very much am technically stupid or technologically stupid. So, you can help me out. Can you do that for me?
I'll try my best, Adam. It's hard to educate a potato, but I'll do what I can.
Well, I would like to think I'm a beat, but first of all, I mean, start with number one. One, it will be compatible with the original PSVR, and we are going to get a PSVR 2. Dude, let's go. I mean, I know we review these things, and regardless, I'm pretty sure you and I were going to buy PSVR 2 anyhow. But is this a big deal that you could still use PSVR 1?
Yeah, I don't know what exactly this means. There's two ways I can interpret this here. First is that they said it's going to be compatible with all PS4 games, which means, of course, it's going to be compatible with the PSVR. It would suck if it's compatible with all PS4 games except for the PSVR games. So that might be what Mr. Mark Cerny himself, that's the guy that was interviewed, that might be what he means. You know, he was kind of cryptic in what he was saying. It might mean that we will be using the same headset and we'll just be getting a performance boost. So we'll be getting cleaner, prettier games, maybe, you know, games that kind of max out the resolution and are beefier, but still the same headset, which, you know, it's a win and a lose. What I would like to see is games that we currently have getting beefed up a bit in their performance, you know, just updates and stuff so that they run better on the PS5.
Okay, fair enough. So one question I have too, someone in Reddit mentioned this, and so if the original PSVR headset can be used, does that mean that we aren't going to have an alternate mode of tracking? Because if we can use the first headset, that would mean that it is compatible with the tracking method that the PSVR 2 has, which means I'm assuming it can't be that different, right?
Right. So, you know, just quick shout out. I was on VR 365, his YouTube channel. I did a video for him, and we talked about this a little bit. And this was one of the questions that was brought up. My perspective on this, and I think this is unlikely. I think what's going to happen is the PSVR headset's going to work the same way on the PSVR 5 until we get a new PSVR headset. That being said, it's really impressive what can be done with just raw processing power. Now, I'm imagining a situation where maybe there's a better camera. You know, you can update the camera without updating the headset. And with a better camera that has a higher resolution, you might be able to get better tracking. I'm thinking, like, what if you had two cameras? That way, if you're obscuring one camera, the second camera can see you. That would already give you much better tracking than what we're getting right now. So I'm hoping that we're going to get some kind of better tracking, even if we have to use the old headset. You know, even if it's not headset tracking, we get better controllers maybe that track better. I don't know. So honestly, I think we're probably going to have the same headset and same tracking until a second model of the PSVR comes out. But with better processing power, we can get better results. You know, they can spend more time developing and smoothing out the tracking rather than pumping out the graphics.
Nice. Okay, so second thing is it arrives, supposedly, of course, second half of 2020. Big surprise there. Do you care?
Yeah, I care, man. I want this thing as fast as I can. I mean, the thing is, with the specs that we're getting, you know, the longer they delay it, the less impressive it's going to feel because, you know, second half of 2020, that's like a year and a half away now. So graphics get so good so quickly that when I want the PS5 to come out, I want it to be top-notch graphically. I want to have a headset that is pumping out VR titles that look better than everything on the PC VR front. And I know we can do that if we have a technologically advanced console. And if we're waiting until the second half of 2020, it's a less likely chance that we're going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of on the same board. I want it as soon as possible. But I also want something that's quality. So, you know. Okay, next, the raw bandwidth will exceed that of what's currently available for PC, which is impressive. So what they kind of mentioned in one of the articles I read was that they sat down, they were watching Spider-Man, and there was essentially, I guess, a transition screen between one world, you know, he's going through the city, and so the next pop-up set of, you know, screens and next part of the world took like 15 seconds. But then with this upcoming bandwidth that the PS5 will have, it would take 0.8 seconds. And that's according to, of course, this report. And, you know, I don't know how hard those numbers are, but regardless, that's pretty insane. So the raw bandwidth, it sounds like it should be a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, so what this is referencing, you say bandwidth and it sounds like internet, but really what this is talking about is how quickly the console is able to read what's on the hard drive, how quickly it's able to read and load data. So the benefit here is that, like they said, you know, if you were playing Spider-Man on the PS4 and you did a fast travel option, that's probably going to throw you up into a load screen. You're going to have to wait while in the background the console is getting all the information and putting it together. And about 15 seconds later, bam, you're right there where you wanted to be in the city, whatever location. And they're saying they can scale that down. They tested it, and they got that down to 0.8 seconds. So it's around a 15 times faster for that to happen. Now, one of the things that I hate the most about PSVR is that technology's gotten so good with console gaming that load times almost became a thing of the past. I remember playing Metroid Prime on the GameCube, and there was never a load screen except for the very initial screen where you were loading your game, and I got spoiled that way. Now I freaking hate it when I play Mage's Tale. Yeah, the songs are nice, but I got to watch a load screen. I play Skyrim. Yeah, it's fun. It's immersive, but the second I open up a menu, it's kind of a load screen. I fast travel somewhere, that's kind of a load screen. A story element, that's kind of a load screen. Don't even get me started on Firewall, which is the load screen experience. The only game that doesn't have a load screen, honestly. Only game that I know that doesn't have a load screen.
That's the first time I've heard that.
This Vertigo Home doesn't have a load screen, so I can imagine Vertigo Home being even faster on a PS5. But no, honestly, it's a really, really important thing that we probably don't think about, and it sounds like they're really wanting to push that this is a big deal. The PS5 is going to be trying to use SSD, solid state drives, for its hard drives and its memory and its loading, which is going to make a big difference. And, it's not going to make the graphics better. It's not going to make the tracking better, which is all things that we want in the VR, but it's going to make the experience better because things are going to be loaded faster. And that means that we might be able to have bigger game worlds as well because they can be loaded as we're walking in. That's less pop in because the data can come in faster at a faster rate without us having to wait for it. So, yeah. That's a really incredible achievement if they're able to get it 15 times faster in terms of loading. That's awesome.
That is. Okay, next we have a 3rd-gen AMD Ryzen chip with 8 cores. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it's impressive, though.
Yeah, I don't know if we're on 3rd gen of these things anyways. AMD is a big deal. AMD, they are the competitors with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a big deal, too. I don't know what the 3rd gen means. I know that Ryzen is kind of their flagship processing unit. The 8 cores, it just depends on how fast each core is. I don't know what that is. These are kind of meaningless specs until you actually see what they put out. Usually these chips are proprietary, meaning that they are better than what you could buy given the same rating. Hopefully it's not something weird and fancy. The fact that it's an AMD Ryzen chip gives me hope, meaning that game developers have already seen Ryzen chips. They've already seen AMD chips. They've already seen multi-core chips. So they should already know how to develop for it. So all the tips and tricks they learn for the past generation of gaming, they'll be able to apply to this kind of processing power, which is good. It's the opposite of what we saw with the PlayStation 3, where they had this new architecture and nobody knew what to do with it. They should know what to do with it, which is good. You have better technology. You know how to use it. They're going to be able to leverage it right off the bat.
Nice. So the thing I was most excited for here is I never heard the term ray tracing, but PS5 is going to have it. And the way and my research, I determined that essentially ray tracing is used in Hollywood effects. And typically when it is used, they're using like $10,000 high-end processors to help essentially simulate these complex interactions that you would see in 3D environments, like I said, in movies or things of that nature. And there's no game console that has ever been able to use this in the past. So it will be the very first one in the world, which sounds awesome. I mean, I don't know what that necessarily means for PSVR, but I know for PS4, that means we're going to get some freaking baller-looking worlds. And I mean, I'm assuming the graphics are just going to be absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, so the thing about ray tracing is that, before ray tracing was around for graphics and video games, all of the imaging you saw was like trickery. You play Duke Nukem 3D for the first time, you walk into the bathroom, you see yourself in the mirror, and you're like, oh, wow, it's my reflection. It's not really your reflection. It's just another iteration of yourself, a 2D sprite of you mimicking your own motions. However, with ray tracing, that's instead, if you walk in there, you go to the mirror, you might actually see a reflection of your character's, your character's existence. So they're mimicking the flow of light. Now, the benefit in VR is, we're not getting ray tracing through the lenses to our eyes. That's not anything special like that. But the benefit in VR is that you're going to get better lighting effects. You got hardcore processing power that you haven't had before. But the better lighting effects is going to lead to better presence. And presence is what sells you in a VR experience. I don't know that I would be completely sold on ray tracing if we didn't have VR gaming, because these special effects that they do 2D that kind of go around the advances of ray tracing are good enough. If you play a modern flat game, you're seeing some pretty top-notch trickery that, to a degree, indistinguishable from ray tracing. But in VR, when things are really three-dimensional, it's in front of you. You look around it, you see how it's behaving. Any kind of 2D trickery that's trying to mimic ray tracing is obviously apparent as the whole thing kind of shifts around you. You can see the 2D bitmap just following where your head is. So I think ray tracing could be really important here. They also mentioned that ray tracing is going to provide better audio. They're going to mimic sound with ray tracing, which is a really awesome idea. And anybody that's played PSVR with 3D audio, it's a game-changing experience because the 3D audio adds to that presence. You're hearing things to the left of you, you're hearing things to the right of you, and that's important when you're trying to immerse yourself in a world. So yeah, the ability to do that is cool. It really almost is like a benchmark for how beefy the processing and graphics are going to be. But there are special inherent benefits to VR, I think, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about all of this nonetheless.
Yeah, man. So that's PS5. I can't wait. Like you said, I wish it were earlier, but it won't be. It's okay. Hopefully they'll come out with a good unit. It will be relatively void of bugs or any issues when we get it. So we still got like a year, dog. Still got a year. We can hang on, though. I'm just going to stick with my version 1 headset. I'm just going to wait it out. Unless it breaks, I'm not even going to upgrade to the second version of PSVR 1. So here's to hoping that it doesn't die, because that would really suck a big one. Okay, so now we talk about PS5. That was the biggest news this week. I want to talk about the golden stream we had this week, because this is hilarious. So Alex and I, because of, I guess, listener or viewer demand, everyone they're like, let's do Rec Room together. I guess instead of just watching us play, they wanted to play with us, that's nice of you guys. It didn't work too well. So I went in. We if you don't know, Wednesdays at 9:30, that's Play PSVR Golden Stream. I went in, I was ready to go. I was on Twitch. Alex was going to be on YouTube. I got everything set up on my Twitch page, and I had the camera that was, taking a video of me making the actions. And I was ready to rock and roll, baby. And then I kind of waited. Text Alex, I was like, dude, WTF, mate. And I just started bowling a little bit while I was waiting for him. And then, I don't know, tell us what happened here, Alex, because I waited a long time, and there were a lot of people on YouTube's waiting for you.
Yeah.
We never saw you.
So I don't know if you want to tell your whole story. I got a whole story behind this, but just quickly what happened. I start Rec Room. Yeah, you got to download an update. Of course, Rec Room is pumping out new stuff all the time, which is cool. But, I don't play the game often enough to keep it updated. So when we try to do something live for the fans like that, this is an issue. I set it up, started downloading, said it's going to take 5 minutes. Cool, I can wait 5 minutes. Oh, no, it's going to take 14 minutes. Okay, 14 minutes, fine. It's going to take 30 minutes. So I just hung out. My stream started 30 minutes late because of this. I finally get it downloaded, and I start it up. And it thinks I have my DualShock on, so it thinks I want to play Rec Room in 2D. I didn't even know that there was a flat version of Rec Room. Did you know that, Adam, that you could play Rec Room in flat mode?
I met someone who was playing in flat mode. That was the first time I realized. I don't know why you would do it, but
yeah, it's just it's a very bad social media game if you're playing in a flat mode. But I couldn't get the game out of flat mode, so I had to close the application, turn off my DualShock, and then start it over again with the Move controllers. Well, I started over again in the Move controller, and it just puts me on the stage where it says, send a gift to your friends. And I hear that stupid Rec Room music playing in the background, and then the music ends because I've been there for so long, and it just says Rec Room. And that's it. And I'm just standing there on the stage in front of the logo, and nothing is happening. I think I deleted the stream, but our good friend Mike Bob came in and talked to me a little bit about it. I forget who else came in. Turner came in, lamenting the fact that he wasn't going to be able to join us. But you weren't going to be able to join us because I wasn't going to be playing the game. I even uninstalled and re-downloaded and reinstalled the game, and it happened again. Shout out to my buddy Turner. He hit up the developers to ask the developers in real time, what's going on here? My man needs to play this game. We have to see our golden stream this week, and we can't see it because Rec Room is not loading. So it wouldn't load. It would not load for me. I spent about 30 minutes waiting to play this game, trying to get it to load up. It wasn't happening. I eventually was like, screw it. I'm going to play some Falcon Age because I need to finish that game. I play Falcon Age for 5 minutes. My bird freaking gets stuck up in the clouds. He won't fly down, so I can't even play Falcon. And then, so I'm like, screw it. You know what game always works? You know what game never lets me down? I played Vertigo Home. It was fantastic. Sorry if you watched the Golden Stream to see me play Rec Room. I played Vertigo Home instead. I hope you enjoyed it because Vertigo Home is better than the loading screen of Rec Room. Adam, how was your Rec Room experience?
Well, here's the thing. Mine was great. You're an idiot. So shout out to the Chaos and Will. They joined me as Alex fled the scene of the crime, never freaking showed up. Also, shout out to Time Sync and Shorty. I doubt that either of you listen, but they were the ones I met at bowling, and they followed us around. So the highlight of the night was I went into disc golf, and there was a single guy, a black dude, and he was there, and as soon as I joined, he cussed me out, man. He was like, told me to shut up, that he wants me out of there. He's like, what the F are you doing in here? Why are you here? Who are you? I don't want you here. You're going to mess up my game. You just kept saying, dude, get out. No one wants you here. He was the only one there. There wasn't anyone else. Like, I could see if he had like 3 of his buddies and he's waiting on a 4th one, or like, you know, maybe he wanted to, I don't know what the heck dude's problem was, but it was total gold. Loved it. So I got cussed out. That was great. And then I found out Chota Boy is 3'5" and cheats in 3D charades. So that's cool. And so, I mean, ultimately I had a good time. I really did. And so Rec Room was still tons of fun. It seems a little more buggy than I thought it would be, and that I remember it being. Like, we went to an escape room that, granted, it was one that a player had made, but it totally glitched out. And just a lot of the things, like, eventually the reason I quit is because the game, like, I could tell the longer I played, the more unstable it became, and finally it just crashed on me. So I just, you know, I was like, okay, it must be time to cut her loose. But it was a good time. I enjoy it. Again, play PSVR Golden Stream Wednesdays at 9:30 Eastern. This week, Alex will be playing Jupiter and Mars. That is, if Alex ever learns how to turn on his freaking PS4. But here's the thing, Alex, and this was going to be my airing of grievance, and so we're going to segue into this before the next segment. So my airing of grievance wasn't going to be you. I was going to say, you're an idiot. I had to, essentially, we didn't have a Golden Stream this week, and I had to play Rec Room by myself. You effing suck. But then you told, I don't know, so you found out what the issue was and why Rec Room wouldn't work, right?
I found out the issue, and it was kind of startling for me. So if you will indulge me, Adam, I'll kind of get on my soapbox a little bit. Let me stand up on the soapbox. See this tinfoil hat I have right here? Let me put it on my head and go down a conspiracy theory lane for you and explain to you why Rec Room doesn't work for me. Now, you guys don't know me personally. You don't know my slant and how I feel about things, but I'm going to tell you what. I don't like being monitored. I don't like being watched. And so when our good friend contacted the developers of Rec Room, I think they're called Against Gravity, he tweeted at them, he said, hey, our buddy here needs to figure out why Rec Room isn't loading. He sent me a link on Reddit. Reddit said to uninstall and reinstall it. People were saying, this still doesn't work. I don't know what's going on. I get a message a day later. You know, kudos to Against Gravity for reaching out to me. That was nice of them. But I get a message a day later telling me that I need to activate api.amplitude.com on my blacklist server. Now, what they're asking me to do, I've taken a Raspberry Pi. It's a small microcomputer, and I've configured it to connect to my network and block all advertising, all spyware, all adware from accessing anything on my home network, because I don't want to just give that data away for free. You know, I don't want people to just take stuff from me without asking and then turn around and sell it, and I don't even know what's happening. I don't want them to know things about me. I'm not telling them. It sounds crazy, but it's just, you know, if I can easily block that, I'm going to. And so I said, okay, Against Gravity, you know, I could do that, but the fact that I would do that to be able to play your game opens up a whole new list of concerns that I have, and just left it at that and moved on. They said, you know, we use this, just full disclosure, they said, we use api.amplitude.com. We use that software in order to track bugs, figure out why games are crashing, figure out why people's games aren't working. Well, I did a little bit of research for the API bug, api.amplitude.com, to look up the software. I've seen it before in advertisements and they're loading and stuff like that. I wanted to know what Amplitude was. From Amplitude's own website, they say, hey, if you have software, you can use Amplitude to track how your users are using your software. For instance, if somebody has iTunes, you can use Amplitude to see how long they listen to a song and see when they stop playing a song. Now that sounds innocuous, and it sounds, fine enough. If you're playing music on Spotify, you can find out how long somebody's listening to a song on Spotify and cater your taste to that. But what's really happening is this software is able to determine what exactly you're doing. It reads every single input, and it reads the entire experience of what's happening in your game. Now, I have to admit, Against Gravity is doing a nice deed. They're releasing Rec Room for free. You don't have to pay anything, and you get this nice social experience that we don't get in other games. We like talking. It's really fun. You get crazy encounters like random dudes telling Adam for no reason, "Get out of here. Nobody wants you here. Get out of this disc golf course. Nobody asked you to be here. Get out of here." That is hilarious. You don't get that in any other game except for maybe Werewolves Within or Star Trek Bridge Crew. There's a space for that kind of game in PSVR. But what I don't like is that it's not up front. Yeah, it might be hidden in the terms of service. It might be hidden somewhere. And Against Gravity says they're using it just to monitor the bugs and try to fix the bugs that are happening. But we know Against Gravity is putting out a pretty hefty product, and they're putting it out for free. And you can make a little bit of money by buying things and selling things, but I don't know anybody that does that. Now, I would be okay letting Against Gravity watch how I play this game. They're not looking through my camera, but they're seeing the inputs. They're seeing how I play the game. I'd be okay with that. But if I were to allow Amplitude access so that I could play Against Gravity, it would be opening my entire home network up to every single monitoring that's going to be taking place on my network. And that's not a bridge I'm willing to cross. I don't want to let Facebook read my every action. I don't want Amazon to know how long I'm looking at a certain product on the screen before I click buy. I don't want these websites knowing how long my daughter's watching, a PJ Masks video on YouTube so that they can at the right time pop up an advertisement for, a Kinder Egg surprise or something like that. I don't like being manipulated like that. I don't like the subtle effect of that. And I don't like the fact that Rec Room, unless you really dig deep and have issues, might be monitoring what I'm doing. Adam, am I crazy here? I know I'm a little bit crazy. I'm a little bit paranoid here. I'm not like everybody else. But does this give you the heebie-jeebies a little bit?
Dude, yeah, that's why I was saying this is the thing that had me shook. I always wondered. I was like, how the F is that game free? I was always confused, but I just went with it. Because at first, remember, it was called Rec Room Beta. So I was like, okay, it's a beta because obviously it's, a beta, and that's why it's free, and they're testing it. But it's never cost anything, and I've never understood that. And now I find out that Rec Room's like the freaking Facebook of virtual reality, just selling off your info potentially. And I guess this is like, I guess, somewhat speculation. That's what we think they could be doing. We don't know that for sure, I guess. But yeah, that's the thing. I think, is that enough for me to stop playing it? And I'm like, well, I use Google, and Google steals my stuff all the time. It freaking reads my emails. It knows when I haven't responded in like 3 days, or it like can come up with automatic responses. Google is scary as balls, but it's like, what am I going to do? Not have any technology at all? So I don't know what to do with this information, but it is kind of scary to think that this could be going on. That I totally agree.
So here's what I do with it. Here's what I think about it. Google's got everything about me, so it's really hard to break myself out of there. I want to one day, but I'm not going to be able to do it just yet because it's way too useful. But for something like Rec Room, I don't need Rec Room. And like we've talked about, Rec Room is incredibly buggy. If they're using Amplitude to monitor bugs and try to fix bugs, they're doing a terrible job at it because Rec Room works about 75% of the time, and all the other time it's too buggy to use. It might just be a function of the PSVR being not the most sophisticated hardware out there, but it's so buggy that it makes it hard for me to play. And if you really think about it, I'm sorry, Rec Room, Against Gravity, it's a fun product. A lot of people like it. People use it to make podcasts. It's almost like a Little Big Planet type thing where you can make your own product, make your own games, and share them and stuff like that. It's really cool what you guys have done. You're putting it out there for free, so I give you props for that. But for me, for a person who plays VR games at home, I'm not playing a ton of social games. I'm not trying to play with 9-year-olds in VR all the time. To me, Rec Room is like a collection of C+ games. I can play a C+ version of Farpoint with these shooting games. I can play a C+ version of Battle Royale. I can play a C+ version of an action RPG or Castlevania or something like that. I can play a C+ version of Astrobot. Or I could just play Farpoint. I could play Astrobot. I could play Mervils. I can play, a B version or an A+ version of these games. And it's just not worth it for me to be suffering through the bugs to play Rec Room. And it's definitely not worth it for me to be opening up my network and be opening up the behavior of my entire PlayStation 4 and my email address and everything that Rec Room knows about me to collect and potentially sell. I don't know. I don't want to pour through the terms of service. Be upfront about it. If you're selling our data, just tell us. If you're not selling our data, tell us, prove it to us. I don't know. I'm being paranoid here. Tinfoil hat, like I said. It kind of spooked me when they said, hey, just open up api.amplitude.com. And I was like, you're being pretty nonchalant about something that's kind of a big deal right there. There's space in the PSVR ecosystem for a game like this. That's what Dreams is going to be, I hope. I want an MMO type game. I want a game where I can share an experience, and I'm happy to pay for it if it means that you're not just going to be watching my every single move when I'm playing a game online on the PSVR. That's it, Adam. I'm done talking about the Rec Room. My tinfoil hat's coming off. Let's be fun again.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, that's it for the second segment. Sorry if I got too weird and soapboxy there. I'm just pissed off. It didn't freaking work when I wanted it to, man. Don't be not loading it because I don't have Amplitude going. Just let me run the freaking game and just don't monitor my content. Freaking A, man. You don't need it. That's freaking it right there. That's it. Oh, let's save it. I just got myself hyped up for the Angry Groups. I'll see you guys in the next segment. I am pissed. Adam, I'm angry. I'm still angry. I was holding my breath, holding my anger, sticking pins in my butt all through that segment break just so I could maintain the anger that Rec Room has brought up in me. I'm so pissed off right now, but first we got to get through some news before we can get to the airing of grievances. Are you with me, Adam? Are you here?
I want to hear that news. Give me some news, Alex.
Okay. Well, we already broke the big news. We already talked about the big news of the PlayStation 5 specs being released, but we have a little bit more personal news for Play PSVR, the podcast. We are officially announcing the Play PSVR podcast May Days. Now, for those of you curious about what that is, Adam and I, we don't get to play enough VR, so we're going to make ourselves play more VR, play some more Play PSVR for you guys. We are going to do 31 days of Play PSVR, golden streaming, baby. That's right. Adam and or I will be playing and streaming a different game each day in May. That's right. 31 games in 31 days. Can you believe it? I think it might be some kind of a world record. So we're going to be releasing a schedule very shortly. Don't get worried. Don't get anxious. Just be a little bit patient. We're going to make a schedule so you can know what games we're going to be playing. If you see your favorite coming up, be sure to tune in. And if you have a request, if you have a game you want to see played, or if you have a game you want to see one of us play, please, we're open to recommendations. Adam's going to be whining. You try to get him to play 18 floors again, he's probably going to crap his britches. I'll play any game you want me to. You know, I'm an open book, and I want you to read me while I'm playing a game. Just don't pick one of those, like, $100 games I have to buy, like Persona Dancing All Night. I mean, I already own it, but whatever. So if you want to see us play, if you got recommendations, you want to join us, it's going to be every night in May, starting May 1st at 9:30 p.m., 8:30 Central. That's right. The Days of May. Play PSVR, Days of May. If you have a PSVR game you want to see us play, let us know. Come on. Join us, cheer us on, and destroy us. A daily golden stream just for you guys, because we love interacting with you, and we love playing PSVR, baby. Adam, are you getting hyped for it? Have you been doing your workouts for it?
I have, and I do want to hear what people want me to play, and try me. Just tell me to play Stunt Kite Master. I effing dare you. I'll laugh at you in your freaking face. Alex, I already know what the first game I'm going to play is. What's yours?
My first game, I had one in mind. Maybe it's going to be Rez, something like that. I don't know. Or maybe it's a game I just got to finish. This is going to be how I'm going to finish the Platinum Challenge. Adam, every time you play a game, you're going to be playing it for fun. For me, this is going to be, 15 or 16 Platinums I'm going to be getting in the May days. Going to put you in a deep, deep deficit with my deep, deep sleepers, getting these deep, deep Platinums, hanging out with your mom deep.
Yeah, you wish. My first game is going to be Trainer VR. I've had the itch. I've wanted to get into it, but I haven't had a real reason to. And we keep getting these games, so I haven't been able to go back just because of time reasons. But this is it, baby. This is going to be the time I get all up in that trainer VR. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be real fun. Can't wait. Let's do it. Speaking of games, let's talk about some upcoming games. So I don't understand. Alex has a reason that he wants us to tell these. I really don't understand it. But, Immortal Legacy, something Unchained something. I don't know. It's not great, as I've heard. We haven't played it. It came out on essentially the week.
It came out this past week. They didn't announce it on the drop, so Adam and I did not pursue this game. But Immortal Legacy, Unchained, I don't know what the subtitle is. Unchained something, Untold Story, Immortal Legacy.
It has something to do with a jade.
Undead. Immortal Legacy, Jade for Mortal Kombat. Basically, I've heard this game is like the closest we're going to get to Uncharted for the PSVR. That might be true, but I also heard the controls are really wonky, that the game is pretty short, and that just when the game starts getting good, it's over. I want to play the game because graphically it seems impressive. It's probably some shooting, and I'm down to see what this group does. I kind of like The Walker, and this is another one of those China hero projects where it's going to be kind of a soulless game, this kind of a technical marvel, and the controls are going to be busted like paper dolls. It's basically like all of these Chinese games that had something going for them. You push them all together, and you kind of get a weird gloop, and maybe it's going to be the best of the best. Maybe it's going to be the worst of the worst. I want to try it. We didn't get a code or anything like that. Maybe I think it's Viva Games. Maybe they can reach out to us and give us a code, and we can heap high praise on it. But
I'm confused why it's on the upcoming games segment
because we didn't talk about it. We didn't get a code. We didn't talk about it, Adam. I wanted to at least mention it because there's something.
Well, it's not upcoming anyhow. Chair in a Room, Greenwater. That is an upcoming game. Essentially, what the tagline here is: eerie, atmospheric thriller, immersive you in your own horror story. That's cool. Using number of locations, flashbacks, memories, jarring, disorientation. You solve clues, puzzles, piece together your past. Sounds like a lot of other horror games, but still, whatever, it can still be done well. Unlock your memories, reveal why you've awoken in a sinister Greenwater Institute. Here's the thing, dog, I haven't played a game. I think Intruders Hide and Seek was the last horror game that I got to play. I don't think we're going to get a code for this. I may buy this anyhow. I need to be scared. I want it. I want it bad, Alex.
Do you want to know why this sounds like all the other horror games, Adam? It's because we talked about this game last week, you idiot.
Yeah, and it didn't come out last week.
It's a double upcoming game. That's right.
It's coming out this week.
Woo!
But seriously, though, I wanted to play last week, and I want to play even more this week. So let's hope it actually comes out, and let's hope that I get to play it.
Yeah. Okay, another game coming out this week. It's kind of anticipated. People have been wanting it. We've seen about 1,500 trailers for this game be released, and they all look like the exact same thing. Jupiter and Mars. Jupiter and Mars, a single-player underwater adventure featuring two inseparable dolphins, companions, and a journey that transports them to save troubled areas and oceans around the world. Kind of looks like a post-apocalyptic underwater adventure. It's produced or designed or whatever by James Milkey. He's kind of a protege, so to speak, of Tetsuya Mizuguchi. So it wouldn't be weird to think that this looks almost like a Rez-ish type game. So to that end, I'm excited about it. He produced Lumines Live on the PS Vita. I freaking love that. No, Electronic Symphony, that one. I love that crap. I love what James Milkey does. I love what Tetsuya Mizuguchi does, but I'm not going to get my hopes high because Tetris Effect kind of burned me a little bit. That being said, I'm looking forward to this game. Adam, do you want to swim with the dolphins?
Well, here's the thing. So we did get a review code for this, and I looked at the replay the playthrough, because people can play like the first 2 hours, I think, of it when it's not under embargo. And this looks boring as sin. I think I would rather touch myself with a pencil sharpener than play this game. So no, I was excited for it until I actually watched it being played. Man, does it look boring, but man, does it look like a game you're going to like. So I gave it to you. I'm definitely not playing this. There is no way I'm playing. It looks so boring. It looks like the same thing. It looks pretty, but it looks like the same thing for 2 hours. And if that's I think it's like a 6-hour game probably. So if the first 2 hours look like the last 4 hours, F my life. Yeah, have fun, buddy.
You're speaking my language, Adam. That's what Vertigo Home was like, the same thing for 2 hours.
You idiot. Okay, what's your airing of grievance?
So you don't have anything, right, Adam? Can I just go off the rails now?
I mean, my only grievance was you, but then you owned me, and now I'm contemplating VR life and video games in general. And internet.
And the internet, man. Watch. They're all looking at you. So speaking to that end, let's get the anger back. Rec Room didn't freaking work. Here's the deal. You tell me that you want me to use the API amplitude so that I can play Rec Room so that you can monitor my behavior. You don't need to see what I'm freaking doing when I'm playing that game. Let me play that freaking game without you spying on me. You can spy on every single other freaking person playing the game, or you can just charge me money. I'll pay $5 and I have a buggy, crappy-ass experience playing Rec Room VR without you trying to watch every single freaking thing I'm doing. I don't want to open my network. I don't want to open my family up to freaking amplitude.com, API amplitude.com. You guys are freaking jokes. Just walking in, just turn on the API amplitude.com and we can see what you're doing and we can see what you look like when you're playing Rec Room. We can see what kind of shirt you're wearing and then send you an advertisement in the mail with a picture of the shirt you're wearing so that you know that we know what you're wearing when we see you playing Rec Room on PS. It's a freaking joke, man. You don't need to see that crap. Don't block the freaking game. Don't let me not play the game just because you want to do some bug analysis. I don't care if your game's freaking free. I don't care if it's free. I'm doing you a favor by playing this buggy turd before you try to turn around and charge money on these like T-shirts or other bull crap that you're going to try to make me sell my friends. Rec Room, you're a freaking joke. The fact that you try to hide the fact you want to monitor what I'm doing is a freaking joke, and you got me all sorts of freaking heated. Speaking of freaking jokes, we got a freaking joke of a user sent us a comment. All right, dude, I'm not trying to be mean to you, so I'm not going to call out your name. Somebody sent us a message on Twitter saying that they are going to stop listening to the podcast. You know what? It's a free country. You can stop listening to the podcast. But why? Here's the kicker. This is why I'm calling him out. He's going to stop listening to the podcast because we were too mean on IGN. He said he didn't like that we insinuated, actually, I might have just straight out said that IGN was paid off for their review of Falcon Age. Yeah, I didn't like Falcon Age. I played a little bit with the DualShock. It's better that way. Don't freaking include the move controllers if your game's going to be a broken, janky piece of trash. If it's better with the DualShock, just let it be with the DualShock. That's what the Persistence did. That's what Resident Evil 7 did. It's not a sin. Just don't give us a turd. Make me play the game like it's a piece of turd because I don't know you can play with the DualShock and it's so much better. Anyways, he said, regardless of your opinion of Falcon Age, it's really, toxic and rude, and that's not what I like in my games media when you say that IGN is being paid off for their reviews. Compound that with the fact that on Reddit, I'm seeing people posting IGN's review of Falcon Age, their video review of Falcon Age, and you go into the comments on Reddit and they're like, well, I don't like IGN, but I still like to support the creators here. No, guys, what is up with this freaking unconditional support of IGN? Do you not understand the history of IGN? Do you not understand the history of games media? Let me break it down a little bit for you. This is an irrational defense of IGN you guys are coming at us with, saying you don't want to listen to our podcast because we're saying bad things about IGN. First of all, I think we're like the only source of video game media that I know that is willing to talk trash about other people. Bring the hate, guys. We invite you all the time. Bring the hate. Tell us the bad stuff about us. I want you to flame me. I want you to roast me. I need this, man. We're just all here ripping on each other, trying to elevate the space, make everybody better in this sense. IGN is a freaking joke. You look at the Dead Cells controversy. It's not VR, but IGN straight up ripped off a review of an indie game reviewer. That'd be like if somebody copied and pasted our reviews and put it on IGN, got all the clicks, got all the advertising revenue for that stupid-ass review that they ripped off, and they made it sound like their own. And then they got called out for it, and they're like, oh, it was just an accident. And then people dug deeper. They did it like 5 or 6 other times. And you're defending IGN. I don't give a crap if it's toxic to say they're getting paid off. I don't give a crap. I'm lying about them. They are a sin on the gaming community. And then we move on even further into the VR realm. You know what? It's not topical talking about Dead Cells. Who gives a crap about a Switch game on a PSVR podcast? So let's move it a little bit forward. Borderlands VR came out for the PSVR. We were all excited. We're reading reviews. They're like 7 out of 10. Polish Paul comes out of the video. He says, wow, this is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted in a Borderlands PSVR game. It's like what it's like when I played it on the PS4, but it's in VR. This is incredible. Then you read the IGN review. They give this game a 4 out of 10. Now, you guys talk about, hey, we got to support IGN's VR coverage because they're the mainstream media, and we want more people to buy PSVR. People are going to buy PSVR because they want to play PSVR. Nobody who doesn't have a PSVR is going to go on IGN and read a review about a PSVR game that they can't even buy because they don't have the console, and then suddenly decide that they're going to buy it. And if you think that is what happens, that's not what happens, because what they do is they go to the website and they read the review, and the review says Borderlands VR is a 4 out of 10 because you can't sprint in the game and you can't walk in the game and you're not allowed to jump in the game because the freaking idiot reviewing the game spent 5 minutes playing the game and 20 minutes farting out a turd that he called a review because he didn't know how to look at the freaking options menu and figure out how the game worked. It was so egregious and so bad that they pulled the review and they had to review it twice. Adam, how many games have I reviewed twice for the website because it was horribly wrong? Zero, Adam. Zero, Adam. How many games have
you didn't review Conrad the Kitten once?
Yeah, I didn't even review it once. It's going to be in the days of May. So if you want to see me play with my kitten and rub that slipper, it's going to happen on one of the days. I guarantee you. Moving on. IGN, who cares about their coverage? It's bad coverage. It's bad coverage because they say good games like Falcon. They say mediocre games like Falcon Age are great. It's a wonderful VR experience. You have to play. I almost guarantee you 100% they play that game flat. It is not VR coverage. And then when they actually play a game, they don't even play it all the way. They play it like a piece of turd. They barely even touch the game. And then they're like, oh, I felt kind of sick when I played the game. And I don't even know how to put the headset on. And also, it kind of hurt my nose when I played it. That's what the freaking IGN reviews are. You talk about support mainstream media so that they can actually cover the game and people will buy the headsets. The headsets have already sold 5 million, and Sony came out and said that this is going to be a major part of their environment moving forward. They are supporting VR. It's going to be backwards compatible on the PS5. It's doing well. We don't need pieces of crap media like IGN supporting our console. Okay, so let's say I called IGN a piece of crap about 5 times now. That's 5 more listeners that have dropped off of our podcast. You know what? I'm happy with that because here's what I'm going to tell you that sets us apart from pieces of crap like IGN. Most of this video game media that you see, here we go, tinfoil hat back on. Most of this video game media that you see is ad revenue driven. Now, if you have been in the game industry, if you've been following game media like I have since I was, 5 years old and I could read a pop-up book about video games going through EGM while I'm taking a dump just so I can see what games are coming out in Japan next year, you would know that there was a big controversy with a website called GameSpot. They had a controversy. It's known as the Kane and Lynch controversy. It's the entire reason that media outlet Giant Bomb exists. It's because GameSpot had a big, big advertising contract with the game Kane and Lynch. And then one of the reviewers from GameSpot played Kane and Lynch. And guess what? Kane and Lynch was not a good game. And he tried to give it a bad review. And he got fired, or he got let off, or he was urged to leave because the website said, hey, we have a contract with Kane and Lynch. We can't give it a bad review. Let's give it a better review. They gave it like a 7 out of 10. That game was a piece of trash. And they were forced to give it a good review because of ad revenue. Now, if you go to IGN's website, I guarantee you're going to see about 6 ads right off the bat. If you ever read one of their reviews, if you read a review of a big game on their website, you have to click through about 8 pages to get through the entire review, even though the review will fit maybe on 2 pages on a Microsoft Word document. That's because they want you to click through and see ads. That's because they probably have api.amplitude.com running in the background to see what other tabs you might have open on your Google Chrome browser. They want to see how long you're reading each review, how likely you are to click the next thing, what you're looking at when you're browsing these reviews. IGN is not a good company. The behavior of these games websites running off ad revenue is not good. If you want an unbiased review, go somewhere where they're not based on ad revenue. Adam and I can't get ads. That's mostly because our podcast isn't big enough. Nobody wants to advertise with us. We got the Power Play of the Week, and that was like $10 in our pocket, if even that. But we get these review codes from these companies, and we don't mince words. If we don't like a game, we're going to say we don't like it. If we do like a game, we're going to say we like it. It doesn't matter what they say. IGN, you don't think IGN is paid off for the reviews of their game. I guarantee you they're paid off for the reviews of their game because they're taking ad revenue from every single freaking publisher out there. Now, if you think it doesn't motivate it, imagine if I sent you $10 right now, and then somebody turned around and asked you if I was a nice guy. You wouldn't say no. You took the $10. You're going to want 10 more bucks down the road. It might be a subtle effect, but anyway, it has manipulated the way you thought about me. That is what's happening with IGN. All right, tinfoil hat off, Adam. I'm getting thirsty, and I feel like I'm getting too serious with this podcast. But if you don't want to listen to us because I'm too mean on IGN, go away. Go watch IGN's commercial podcast they release. It's a freaking commercial they release every week for their podcast. We are just trying to we're 2 guys who love PSVR. We want to talk about PSVR. We want to talk about the bad things about PSVR. We want to talk about the good things about PSVR because we are realistic about PSVR. And if you're sad that we're calling out other games media sites, it's because they're trash. And if you think we're trash for doing it, that's fine. Tell us we're trash because we ask you every week to let us know. Send us an email, playpsvr@gmail.com. Actually, contact@playpsvr.com. We want to hear all the bad stuff about us. I want you to roast me. I'm going to prep another roast box. And I'm going to send it out to whoever roasts me the hardest. Just because I'm so freaking heated, I gotta box up all this hate and send it to somebody.
Well, okay. Well, now that that's over, remember that was Alex. So when you write your mean things, target it toward Alex. It's not me. That would be cool. And I can't wait to see our listener drop a whole lot. But, that's okay. Regardless, if you stuck through us here, thanks for listening, man. You or gal, both of you, you're a beast.
The two people that listen to the end, we love you guys.
I don't even know if it's that much because I don't listen to it after I edit it. So I don't know, it depends. Regardless, thanks for listening to the podcast. Check out playpsvr.com. That's right. Website is back up and it's optimized for our podcast. We're still dealing with little things and how it looks like, but all the podcasts are there. We're able to, put posts up, things of that mention or that regard. We want your comments. You can berate us. Berate Alex mainly. Don't come after me. I will cry. Trust me. Alex has been playing too much Ghost Giant. He's all emotional now, hormonal and crap. So talk to us there. We do have a new email, contact@playpsvr.com. We also still have playpsvr@gmail, so feel free to email us there too, but we're going to be transitioning into the contact@playpsvr.com. And remember, podcast, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on most of the podcast hosts. If you do have a podcast host or, provider that you're not getting updates, let us know because we are, as I mentioned, transitioning to a different host. Again, guys, thank you so much. We hope to see you in the Golden Stream. We hope to hear you next week or hear us talk to you next week. Thank you so much. We love you. Ni hao.